of the states, or the colonies as they were at the time, were quite involved in self-governance. It was a very important element for them to self-govern themselves. Why was that? Well, for one, a lot of the people that came over to this country in those days were looking for freedom and liberty. They were looking for a place to go that was not controlled by just a small group of people. So this concept of self-governance was a really huge element of what they thought. And they worked at developing a system to self-govern. What did that include? Well, a big part of it was that they were involved in the governing body. It was the people. The concept of self-governance was exactly that they were self-governing themselves. And everyone was involved in that. In fact, if they did not attend one of the meetings, and they had meetings weekly, they could be fined for that, for not being there. That's how important self-governance and being involved in that process was to those people. Once everything was established, the Constitution was put together, but the Constitution didn't really speak about these meetings and this structure of what created self-governance. It wasn't in the Constitution. It doesn't say that or structure this whole concept of how people did self-governance. And if you look at that and you dig into that some, you'll see that these people took it for granted. It wasn't even a question whether or not they were involved. It was their duty, it was their responsibility, it was the way they did it. So if anything happened, everyone knew about it. And I think these days we've gotten so far away from that whole concept of what self-governance looks like that we've become a nation of put somebody in to govern us thinking. That I don't have time for doing that, so I'm going to hire someone else to do it. I think that is one of the key things that's led to a lot of things that are going on in these present days. If we want our freedom and our liberties to be sustained, it's imperative that we are involved in the governance of this country. Why is that? Because as many of our founding fathers said back in those days, Thomas Jefferson in particular, John Adams in particular, and Benjamin Franklin, if the people, the citizens, aren't involved in the governing of the nation, then you're going to lose your liberties and your freedom. To this day, our liberties and our freedoms have been eroded over years and attempting to get those back and have those so they are exercised in the manner that they were intended is a huge challenge. Why? Because the people of our country have been asleep at the wheel. Work takes time. Raising a family takes time. Doing the things that people need to do takes time, yes. However, self-governance takes time also, and it is a responsibility of every citizen. Why? Why is it a responsibility of every citizen? For one, if you believe, if you want your voice heard, you have to be involved. Writing a letter to your congressman may do something. However, your voice to your congresspeople as a group speaks a lot louder than maybe one person writing a letter. Involvement. We must be involved in governing our country. If we say we don't have time for that, we're also saying to ourselves and to others, we don't have time to make sure that what's going on in this country is what's supposed to be going on. The people that are in the legislature, whether it be the representatives or the Senate, are supposed to have our interest at heart. Many times that doesn't happen. In fact, far too often it doesn't happen. Congress can make any kind of law they want. It is up to and the responsibility of the people to make sure that those laws that are being put in place are based on the Constitution, are legal, and are enforced in a proper way. That's our responsibility. If we don't say anything, if we don't do anything to make sure that happens, they can put anything they want into law. Anything they want can be made law. And that's happened many times. Many times. Too many times it's happened. We need to go back to what this country was based on. We need citizen involvement. It doesn't matter what party you belong to at one place, but you do need to be involved. You need to educate yourself on what the Constitution does, what the Constitution says that the government can do, and understand what the government can't do. The more you educate yourself on the limits of what our federal government can do and how that federal government is supposed to be organized, you're going to be able to effectively bring your voice to be heard. And I challenge everyone, every single person in our country, to know the law, to understand the law, and to be able to apply the law, and to be involved in the governance of our country. Self-governance is a requirement of citizenship. Mr. Toastman.